Hello and welcome back to another video of the Hidden Quantum Champion series. Today we are looking into a company called EvolutionQ that is active in the space of consulting for cybersecurity using quantum technology. So if you are, let's say, working in finance industry, in telecommunication, or anything that is, let's say, very reliant on secure communication, and you have never heard about anything regarding quantum technology, or if you are looking into people that can help you to actually implement those practices into your company or understand what roadmap we are on, then today's video might be interesting for you. So feel free to join along as we are diving deeper into EvolutionQ. And with that, as per usual, we start right here on their website. It says leading the way to the future of trust. Future-proof cryptographic resilience and cybersecurity solutions for the post-quantum transition. Couple of things first, you see up here there's an EvolutionQ Europe page as well. I'm on the .com domain, which I assume is the more international one. I also looked at the EU domain previously. There's also a certain amount of overlap. There are certain things that might not be similar or identical. So depending on which geo you are in, you might want to also check out the EU domain. Now, with that said, let's take a step back again and let's quickly talk about what this post-quantum transition is all about, because you might have not heard about that before. So in the world of quantum computing, there is an algorithm which is called the Shor's algorithm. And this algorithm allows quantum computers to very effectively do a prime factorization. What is a prime factorization? Well, prime numbers are numbers that cannot be divided into any integer numbers. Like, for example, 3. 3 only divides by 1 and by itself. 5, same thing. If I give you the number 15, however, 15 can be the product of 3 times 5. So you have two prime numbers that are leading to this number. Now, for these small numbers, it is pretty easy to figure out what are the two prime numbers that you have to multiply in order to get this big number or this bigger number. But if I give you a very, very big number and I ask you what are the two prime numbers that lead into this number, it is extremely hard to find the correct combination, the product of those two prime numbers, because you first have to figure out all these huge prime numbers, and then you kind of have to figure out which one gives you the product or the number if you multiply them with each other that I'm asking you for. So it's extremely hard to actually do this calculation on a classical computer. A quantum computer is using an interference mechanism, so it's basically trying multiple things at once, or it is using interference patterns to actually detect these two numbers that lead to the prime number. Now, why am I telling you all of this? Why is this important? Well, that plays an important role when we talk about cryptography, because a lot of today's cryptography, so if you are logging into your online bank account, if you are sending encrypted messages back and forth, if you're using the HTTPS on your browser, a lot of these cryptographic techniques, they're using this idea that prime factorization is a hard problem that is hard to solve for computers. Basically, the idea is if you are, let's say, looking at the algorithms, how to brute force extract those numbers or how to extract those prime numbers, the two that lead to this product, you're basically estimating the time it takes to find those two numbers. And if this is, let's say, higher than the existence time of the universe or our estimated existence time of the universe, then you say, okay, you cannot really crack this, right? Now, if we had a very strong quantum computer, we could crack today's existing cryptography scheme. Now you might say, okay, but probably we don't have this quantum computer today because we're still using the good old encryption that still works. And why would I care? It's not even clear if we will ever have this. And I mean, from that point of view, you are probably right. It's not really clear if we will ever have this. Different people have different expectations on how long it will take, but there is a certain chance that this might happen. And if you give that a certain probability, let's say 10%, that it happens over the next 10 years, then, well, there's an existing risk of communicating with this technology in 10 years, but also there's a risk of communicating with such a technology, such a classical encryption pattern today. And the idea behind that is the so-called harvest now, decrypt later idea. So harvest now as in I'm eavesdropping into your communication today. So I'm basically listening to these encrypted messages that you're sending back and forth, and I'm storing them somewhere on a hard disk drive. And in 10 years from now, I'm going to take this drive again. I'm using a quantum computer and I'm going to crack the encryption and read all of your messages in clear text. Now, that is for a lot of applications quite a big threat. Think about your health-related data. You don't want this to be cracked within your lifetime usually. Think about certain government secrets that needs to be kept secret or something like that, right? So there are certain information that have to be kept secret over a long period of time, and that's where this whole idea plays in. Now, as far as I understand, what EvolutionQ is doing is they are not only consulting on these topics, they also have some products, which we are going to talk about in a second. Here's some explanation about what is at stake, right? So there's too much at stake for your defense to break: telecommunication, finance, defense, and another critical industry. So there are many different ones, right? Also think about, smart cities, infrastructure, and so on. Quantum threat timeline report. So there is some estimated timeline, I guess, that they have in mind here. Why cryptographic resilience matters. So there's the why, how, what questions being answered, I guess. Our base jump platform enables cryptographic resilience today, and we will talk about that one in a second. Our services team helps you manage your quantum risk. There's building cryptographic agility now and for tomorrow. Get insight to help you develop your roadmap to quantum cybersecurity, an online on-demand webinar, pioneering post-quantum cryptography at EvolutionQ, defining the future of cybersecurity is all we do. We're the original drivers of quantum risk management. We've helped put post-quantum cryptography on standards bodies radar. There are equations with our names on them. As globally recognized experts in the quantum computing, cryptography, and cybersecurity, we spent more than a decade developing real-world solutions that can stand up to AI, high-performance computing, and post-quantum threats to cryptography. Even more importantly, we are already in market with future-ready solutions like BaseJump SKY and BaseJump QDN with global scale customers around the world, and we will talk about these solutions next. Then there are some resources linked down here. So you see different publications from 2026. I'm recording this in July of 2026, and you can see here the last one is from June, so that's pretty much up to date. Quantum Briefing June 2026, and some opportunity to get in touch with them. Now, let's quickly jump into the products, right? So what is this BaseJump SKY about? Navigate known and unknown threats with post-quantum security and resilience based on the multimodal key establishment protocol. So as far as I understand, this might be about key distribution, right? So be ready for the new era of cryptography. Evolving cyber threats, malicious use of AI, and advanced quantum computing all pose heightened risk for current cryptographic infrastructures. Organizations are going to need both post-quantum public key infrastructures, PKI, and symmetric key infrastructures, SKI, to meet the challenge. The symmetric key infrastructures deliver an immediate, controlled way to achieve post-quantum key exchanges, enabling rapid post-quantum cryptography compliance today and laying the foundation for a resilient layered security posture going forward. BaseJump SKI, part of BaseJump platform from EvolutionQ, meets the challenge with a unique multimodal approach that combines symmetric key infrastructure with post-quantum cryptography PQC for end-to-end key generation that's stronger and more resilient than the sum of its parts. Quickly about this idea. So in a symmetric setup, you are basically sharing certain keys and you're using them to encrypt your message. So unlike an asymmetric setup where you're, as the name says, asymmetrically encrypting and decrypting the message, here you're using a symmetric setup. You have a certain key that is being shared and you're using that to decrypt the message. And that's basically what this symmetric key infrastructure here is about, right? And to make sure that this key is actually being secured, oftentimes in quantum key distribution, you are using quantum physics to actually make sure that nobody's eavesdropping into that in between. But that's, let's say, a slightly different topic. Okay, then, you have the different advantages listed over here. In the base jump QDN, ultra-secure key exchange capabilities that deliver long-term enterprise security today. So the clock is ticking. Enterprises and critical industries are up against the double deadline. On the one hand, they need to modernize their cryptographic approaches to defend against evolving cyber threats, including known quantum threats. On the other, they urgently need the agility and resilience to harness the power of quantum AI and other advanced computing technologies for their own protection. Base Jump QDN, part of Base Jump platform from EvolutionQ, is a complete key exchange solution that draws on the high secure capabilities of evolving quantum networks, and it's not theoretical. Base Jump QDN is in development today. And then here you can get a product introduction with the team. So take quantum security further with Base Jump QDN. Quantum links over optical fiber are currently limited to a few hundred kilometers. With Base Jump QDN, you can extend today's quantum key exchange network using trusted, certified repeater nodes and seamlessly upgrade to zero trust quantum repeater nodes as they become commercially available. These future nodes do not require physical security or certification, reducing cost and enabling deployment in locations where strong physical protections would be difficult or expensive. And we've talked about these key distribution networks before, right? So typically, as mentioned here, you can connect via a classical fiber to data centers, to nodes with this quantum key distribution scheme over about 100 kilometers, sometimes even more. And then you need to have these, let's say, repeater sections or these networks, these meshes kind of at this 100 kilometer distance. As you can see here in the image, there are also some companies that offer to use satellites in addition. So then you basically use, you can increase the distance because you're using the satellite network here as well, and you can communicate from ground to satellite to another satellite to ground and so on and so forth. So thereby you can extend the distances, and as far as I understand, this software product here, or the solution here, is a software product that sits on top of these physical provided products and makes sure that you can make use of this. And additionally, that's also mentioned here, there's no vendor lock, so you are not necessarily constrained into a single one of these vendors or into a single one of these networks. You can also easily switch between different of those. In addition, intelligent key routing, there's also something done in that regard. And then there comes also a dashboard where you can monitor things, as well as, I think here's the simulation environment available as well. Now, let's quickly also take a look at the services, because we are talking about a consulting firm here, right? So there are also some consulting services in there. Services are usually at the core of consulting, right? So quantum risk assessment is one of them. And I mean, mentioned before, right? They were among the first, or maybe the first, to actually do this. So they are very well known for this in the field. So there's some explanation here what to look out for and what are relevant topics for this quantum risk assessment. Let's go through the, let's say, the header of everything, because I don't want to let's say, go through all of the details for now, but if you're interested, you can then later on learn more by going through it yourself. So what does the Mosca inequality say about your organization? Quantum computers, once seen as a remote theoretical possibility, are not being developed by some of the largest computing companies are now being developed by some of the largest computing companies in the world. And there is a material risk that within 5 to 10 years, they will be able to decrypt sensitive data being communicated today. Again, this is this harvest now, decrypt later idea, right? It is important that businesses relying on secure communications examine the issue and assess their quantum risk. So that's what this Mosca inequality is about as one of the examples. Harvest now, decrypt later. Then we have quantum safe executive workshops. So executive briefing on quantum computing threats by world-renowned experts. And there's also some information about that here. Talking about executive education and quantum, I also want to mention that we have just opened the pre-registration for our course, which is targeted also to executives from the quantum field, but also from outside the quantum field that need to make decisions about quantum technology acquisitions and first tests, or generally to expand the company's footprint in the quantum technology, as well as VCs and investors in the space of quantum technology. This course is supposed to give you a wide overview over these topics. I have reviewed more than 150 companies by this point. You can also see all of the videos in the Hidden Quantum Champion playlist on our YouTube channel. And there's much more information about that, which we have been acquiring and working on putting this into a course. You can pre-register, and with that you get my personal report about this year in quantum, as well as a video recording or a video recording session about this specific analysis of myself. If you just pre-register in the link down below in the video description. Now back to the services. There's also this roadmap strategic services, right? So looking into the future. Why to act now, right? There's a NIST new standards. So NIST is the American standards institution, right? So the August 2024 launch of post-quantum cryptography PQC standards signals the need for immediate action. Also, open bracket, there are now even timelines, and I think that's what is also mentioned here, about what are realistic dates for this post-quantum cryptography to become relevant, and when, by what time, certain institutions within, I think, even the US have to switch their standards to something that is considered quantum safe. Now, lengthy transitions or migrating to quantum safe cryptography can take 4 to 10 plus years, making proactive planning essential in order to avoid prolonged operation disruption and other massive systematic losses. Additional current threats. So organizations are vulnerable today to store now, decrypt later attacks, or harvest now, decrypt later, where adversaries harvest encrypted data now to decrypt in the future. Quantum computing is advancing rapidly and could render current cryptographic systems unsafe by as early as 2029. And of course, here the question of the roadmap depends always a bit whom you're asking, and these roadmaps are redefined on a regular basis also by the big quantum computing companies. As shown before, there's also a couple of resources. I will not go through all of them for now. As well as some information about the company, which I would like to kind of go through before closing today's video. So, cryptographic resilience to protect against risk and size opportunities. So, the evolution of defense in depth. EvolutionQ was founded in 2015 with a clear mission to anticipate coming threats that pose the greatest risk to the world's critical industries and guard against them with future-ready cryptographic defense in depth. Post-quantum cryptographic resilience demands an agile, multi-layered approach that mitigates both harvest now, decrypt later risks and zero-day vulnerabilities. Our real-world deployable solutions provide exactly that. Choose Basejump SKI to protect critical applications using a unique multimodal combination of symmetric key infrastructure, classical standards-based asymmetric key cryptography, and post-quantum cryptography. Use Basejump QDN as your launchpad into the world of quantum networking and key distribution. We also provide a range of expert services to help you plan for cryptographic resilience with risk assessment, roadmaps, strategies, and more. EvolutionQ at a glance. So $7 million in external funding to accelerate product development and market expansion. Global footprint, so they have headquarters in Waterloo, Canada, and Aachen in Germany. Aachen is where I also studied physics, and then also Jülich, so shout out to Aachen always. And then 2015, founded by world leaders in quantum safe cybersecurity. Experts in cryptographic resilience. Here you see the, let's say, board, executive leadership, as well as the management team, and the quantum safe evangelists. Very nice coined phrase they came up with, as well as their investors listed here in the list as well, and a way to contact them. With that, we are already at the end of today's video. I hope you liked it. As always, make sure to stay hydrated, and I'm looking forward to see you in the next one. Until then, bye bye.